getting to know Lew Minsky and DCIIA.
That there should be a place in our industry where competitors can come together.
Coopetition.
But really, how do we each lean on each other as competitors, but also as partners to really get us to the place that we need to as an industry?
And DCIIA's Innovation Forum.
Really wanted to do something that wasn't happening in the industry and was helping the industry think about what is possible.
All this and more on today's episode of The Wave Strength.
Welcome to The Wave Strength. Innovative solutions for a secure retirement. Presented by Pacific Life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Wave Strength podcast series. I'm your host, Jim Breen, head of marketing with Pacific Life's institutional team. We are so excited to be joined here today live in the studio with Pacific Life's Karen Neeley and DCIIA's Lew Minsky. Lew, Karen, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy days. Lew, in your case, to fly on out, Karen, to come on down to the studio. So thank you both for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. So what I'd love to be able to do is share with our audience a little bit about each of your backgrounds. Karen, I know you've been a guest on the show many times. Perhaps we'll start with Lew as our guest here in the studio. Lew, obviously, you're known by many. Lew Minsky, the founder and CEO of DCIIA, the Defined Contribution Institutional Investment Association, such a fantastic organization. Can you please share a little bit about DCIIA, Lew, and in your current role before we go deep into what you're working on?
Yeah. A fabulous organization, maybe not the best branding in the world, but DCIIA for short, and we'll stick with it for now. So I am a recovering lawyer, been through all 12 steps of the 12-step program, and about 15, 16 years ago, found myself, getting more and more pulled into the retirement savings space and focused on public policy. And my frustration that at the time it felt like there wasn't enough focus on the things that really mattered. How do we get more people in the system? How do we get them saving more? How do we create choice architecture in the retirement savings system that leads to success instead of failure? And started talking about that with some peers and found that there were others that felt the same way. And yet at the time, there didn't feel like there was a space within the retirement savings system for those conversations. And so we started going around to some of the existing industry associations, some of the big conferences in the industry to see if we could, spur some dialogue around, what we were calling at the time the institutionalization of the DC model, the DBization of DC. And, interestingly found, we got pretty similar responses everywhere we would go, which was that, that sounds great in theory, motherhood and apple pie, improving retirement security, but
who wouldn't want that?
But it's not for us. And that was usually followed by like a litany of reasons that kind of seemed wrong or rang hollow, but for whomever we were talking to seemed real. And so after banging our head against that wall for about a year, we thought, let's start inviting in more peers to kind of test our thinking and see if they agree with us that there should be a place in our industry where competitors can come together, leave their competitive instincts at the door, and work collaboratively and collectively to improve retirement security for American workers. So, about 15 years ago, coming up in January, will be our 15th anniversary. We finally decided to kind of put a marker down and see if others would follow. And so far so good. We've over time, I think, built a pretty nice community of competitors and peers that are willing to come together to work collaboratively on improving retirement security. And I know, at least for my part, it's a pleasure to get up every day and do my part to try to advance that mission.
You and I had the opportunity to spend some time together ahead of the filming here, and you talked about that collaborative nature that is one of the many things that DCIIA brings to the table, and we want to dive into that a little further. First, Karen Neeley, perhaps you can share a little bit about your role as VP and head of our Institutional Retirement Solutions Group at Pacific Life.
Sure, would love to. Thank you. So I've been at Pacific Life for about a year now. I lead our Institutional Retirement Solutions Group, so that includes our pensioners transfer and our defined contribution lifetime income business. And I like to say that's the retirement of today in DB. And then as you talk about the DBization of the DC world, the retirement of tomorrow with defined contribution lifetime income. So we've been a proud participant in DCIIA. We're thrilled to be able to host the 2024 Innovation Forum. And then next year, looking at sites of hosting the 2025 Innovation Forum here in Newport Beach, and just, love the mission of DCIIA and being a part of that collective community, really working to drive this forward.
Yeah. Lew, you talk a little bit. Thank you, Karen, very much. And obviously, starting here, thanks again for both of you being here. Lew, let's bring it back 15 years ago. You talked about having those conversations, and perhaps you can share what was the why behind this. You explained what you saw in the market and maybe some of the feedback you had from some of your peers, but was this something that even 20 years ago you thought you'd be starting? What was the why?
Definitely not something I thought I'd be starting. So I had served as a lawyer, first as in a big law firm, and then in-house at what's now NextEra Energy, Fortune 100 energy company based in Florida. And made a shift in my career and got involved, ran total rewards for the company for a little while, and got involved on the business side. And just kind of through a sort of twist of fate, at the time I was serving on the boards of a couple of industry associations in the retirement savings space. And there was a big push in Congress to create legislation around fee disclosure. And honestly, to this day, I don't really know why, but for some reason, I was identified as somebody who, maybe could testify on behalf of the employer community. And so I got dragged into testifying at a bunch of hearings on Capitol Hill. This is like 2007, 2008. And found myself kind of bitten by the policy bug. And through that, started just increasingly thinking about, while, I had a great day job, I wasn't as animated by it as by the idea of really leaning into the opportunity to focus on improving retirement security for American workers, and, saw real opportunities to do it. And so that's the why. And then the how's kind of evolved over the years, but at least for me, it's what animates me when I get up in the morning, and just really lucky to be able to work on it.
The incredible thing about that is just how much the industry has evolved in the past decade and a half. You think about like where this was when DCIIA started and where we are now, and it's at such a different point. And I feel like the conversations have changed. The awareness around this has changed, the heightened importance around this in the conversation. So like what you've started through DCIIA has really created this ripple effect in the market in terms of where we are today, which is just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, well, definitely, thrilled to have been a part of it. I would say the biggest thing that I've been able to do over the years is get the right people together, sitting around the table, and then get out of their way. So if there's anything I've done well over the last 15 years, it's get out of the way.
Well, we've seen that. We had the opportunity and the privilege to host the 2024 DCIIA Innovation Forum. Karen, you mentioned that a short time ago, and working with the DCIIA team, it's amazing how you're able to accomplish so much with such a tight team. And, the way in which DCIIA brings people together. We talked at lunch earlier today, Lew, about the academic forum, for example, and the level of information, the data, the way in which that information is presented and shared to that body is unique.
Yeah, I think it's a good example of something that we saw an opportunity to sort of change the way the conversations were happening between the academic community and the industry, and at least so far, I think it's proven to be successful. So, back when we started, there were a couple of academic-oriented events that would happen that some people in the industry would attend, and some academic-leaning think tanks that would engage around the periphery of the industry. But what we were hoping to do with the academic forum, and I think have been relatively successful at, is bring the academics to the industry, but force them to think about how they could make their ivory tower thinking more actionable and practical, and ultimately lead toward implementation. And it really started in the early days with a lot of focus around behavioral finance and choice architecture. But over the years, we've delved into topics all across the spectrum.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know we've talked a lot. I know, Karen, you have thoughts on BFI and a lot of the work that you've done.
Yeah. And you think about, I go back to where the industry's gone in the last decade and a half, 2 decades really. And a lot of it is about getting over that inertia. So first it's working with record keepers, and then it's working with plan sponsors. And ultimately, it's participants, it's employees saying yes to these solutions. What's helping people to get to yes is that level of research. It is the understanding. It's the outcomes that we're able to prove. So by bringing together the academics, by really being able to triage the research in a way and help people get to that overcoming inertia. Same thing happened on the accumulation side of this industry as we think through that, and really the importance of behavioral finance as it related to the autos and everything to get people to the right balance. We need to bring that same level of learning, that same level of effort as it relates to the decumulation side of the curve.
Absolutely. And the academic forum, yes, amazing. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the DCIIA Innovation Forum. That word innovation, it's used in many different areas of various industries, and sometimes to a fault where we just hear the word innovation. I would say, though, that the DCIIA Innovation Forum, truly an opportunity where we are seeing tangible efforts being made in our industry to bring change and to bring new ways of thinking. Karen, I know you actually use a word that Lew used at lunch, the coopetition that exists out there in the environment. I'd love to discuss with the two of you your thoughts about how, for example, at the Innovation Forum earlier this year, we saw these firms coming together to have these open conversations, sharing, even Pacific, like with the AI presentation, Karen, that you made, these unique ways in which we're rethinking the landscape. Karen, perhaps you can begin.
Sure, would love to. So as we think through, again, what is it going to take to get people to the decumulation point? How do we support them? One of the things that I love is that we're thinking through this in not just in the walls of Pacific Life. We're thinking of this in the industry. And you mentioned putting the right people at the right tables to have these conversations. We know that we don't have all of the pieces, right? Whether we're the insurer, whether it's the record keeper, whether it's the plan sponsor, whether it's the middleware provider. There's so many critical components, the asset manager, so many critical components to solving this puzzle. And it's going to take us all working together. And it's that idea of coopetition, of together, rising tide lifts all boats, if I can use a nautical term here at Pacific Life. But in terms of that, how are we thinking through some of these ideas that have been the roadblocks, that have been the barriers for the industry? Not to say that we're going to be, stacking hands as we go through the next decade, but really, how do we each lean on each other as competitors, but also as partners to really get us to the place that we need to as an industry? So I feel like that's one of the things from a Pacific Life standpoint, we value being part of the academic forum, being able to host the innovation forum and really make those connections with our competitors, because we believe that that's going to be a critical piece to solving this puzzle.
Yeah. Well, I definitely can't miss the opportunity to say thank you, first of all, because the Innovation Forum is something we've been doing for a few years now, but through the partnership with you, we were able to take it to, I think, another level this year, and really looking forward to building on that in 2025.
Yeah.
So really
we feel the same way.
Just appreciate the partnership, and taking a step back, for a few years before we started doing the Innovation Forum, during that same time on the calendar, we had what we were calling an investment forum. And when we reflected on it with our executive committee, it was good content we were putting out there, but it felt like it wasn't differentiated enough from the kinds of things that were happening elsewhere in the industry. I mean, there are lots of different investment-focused forums out there, and we really wanted to do something that wasn't happening in the industry and was helping the industry think about what is possible as we go forward. So, I really, I love the fact that the membership comes together every year in the Innovation Forum in a spirit of coopetition and even cooperation in some cases. And sharing, these ideas and thoughts about the future, even in some cases where, maybe that's giving competitors a sense of, some of your best thinking, understanding that, at the end of the day, we're going to create a rising tide here, and it's going to raise all boats.
Yeah, because there is a need for us to some extent share these ideas, and the more we can come together, the more that an organization like DCIIA and others can bring folks together to have those conversations, be it the academic or the innovation forum. And again, I think the one of the more exciting things about the innovation forum, it was this sandbox, if you will, where all these ideas were brought to the table, and you have that opportunity for the folks that are really out there making a change in our industry, bringing that access, right? And having those opportunities. We're all busy. Everybody is just, Lew, we were talking about your crazy travel schedule lately, mine as well. Karen, I know you're all over the place. And to have that opportunity where we can just in a very strategic way, have those conversations, it's beneficial.
Yeah. And I think, one of the nice things about our community is, we've really tried to reach out to all the different parts of the ecosystem and bring them in the spirit of cooperation. And so, it's rare that you can have those kinds of conversations with a group of consultants and advisors and plan sponsors and asset managers, insurers, record keepers, all in a room together. And because of that, it makes it feels like the conversations are not just theoretical; they're actionable, and my hope is they're going to drive change in the industry.
I think one of the exciting things is we're all here for a critical societal need. So as you think across all of the partners that are sitting at the table and all of that cooperation, everyone's here for that higher level purpose. At Pacific Life, we believe in driving confidence for generations. And this is one of the ways that we're excited and thrilled to be able to do that. So as we think through the macro why and why firms like Pacific Life joined DCIIA, truly is because there's this higher order need for us to solve retirement and to solve this crisis that is upon us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it fits perfectly into, it's almost like in our DNA, right? Especially in this institutional space that Pacific Life has carved out for the group in which you and I are part of, Karen, here at Pacific Life. That ability to try something new, to think outside of the box, to really run with the ball, explore the width of the road, and try and bring change, because this is, as you say, a societal need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lew, as we wrap up here, can you perhaps share what's next for DCIIA? Not asking you to reveal any trade secrets here, but
in the spirit of coopetition.
Yeah, in the spirit of coopetition, exactly. What's next for DCIIA? If you could wave that magic wand today to get to where you want to be in 5 years, what would that be?
Yeah, so I think a natural evolution of the conversation we've been having for the last 15 years is, just thinking about, the household more holistically. So, while we started with a pretty direct focus on the institutionalization of the retirement savings DC system, over time, we've had more and more focus broadly on how that fits into a bigger picture around financial well-being, around financial and retirement security for the household. So, we'll continue to widen the lens and make sure that we're doing what we can to be a constructive force in driving important conversations around financial and retirement security. And in doing that, I mean, I think naturally you want to make sure that you have all of the right constituencies coming together to make those conversations actionable. So we'll continue to reach out to new communities as that mission expands. So, as an example, we're very focused on increasing the connection we have with some of the advisory firms that participate in the financial and retirement security space, increasingly seeing fintechs that we're bringing into our community, increasingly seeing investment in the retirement space by private equity and venture capital firms, and making sure that we're bringing their voice to the table. So, no shortage of things to work on.
Fantastic. Definitely a long list there, and excited to be a part of that and into the future. Lew, perhaps you can share a way for our viewers and listeners to connect with DCIIA to learn more. How would they do that?
Sure. So first step is probably DCIIA.org on the website. There's plenty of information about the community and about membership, and you can always reach out to me directly, lew.minsky@dciia.org. But we'd love to have a conversation with anybody who feels passionate about financial and retirement security, and welcome them into the community.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of great information out there. And, I encourage our audience to head over, even just a simple Google search for DCIIA, and you'll learn a lot about this wonderful organization and everything that Lew Minsky and his team are currently doing and have underway.
Yeah, well, we definitely appreciate the support and the partnership from Pac Life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. I would just reiterate what you said, Jim. We're thrilled to be part of DCIIA and look forward to the future and working collectively with Coopetition.
Yeah, Coopetition, the word of the day. Lew, also, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here in Newport Beach. We really appreciate it to both of you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And to our listeners and our viewers today, I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to check out today's show. I want to encourage you to head over to YouTube, Spotify, and Audible. Hit like and subscribe so that you can stay current with new content as it becomes available. We'll see you next time, everybody.
This has been another episode of The Wave Strength, presented by Pacific Life. Don't forget to catch us on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Although this podcast is presented by Pacific Life, the opinions and views expressed are those of the hosts and participants and do not necessarily reflect Pacific Life's views on any of the topics discussed. Unless otherwise noted, Pacific Life is unaffiliated with any other individual or company mentioned. Pacific Life is a product provider. It is not a fiduciary and therefore does not give advice or make recommendations regarding insurance or investment products. Pacific Life, its affiliates, its distributors, and respective representatives do not provide any employer-sponsored qualified plan administrative services or impartial advice about investments, and do not act in a fiduciary capacity for any plan. Pacific Life refers to Pacific Life Insurance Company and its subsidiary, Pacific Life and Annuity Company. Insurance products can be issued in all states except New York by Pacific Life Insurance Company, and in all states by Pacific Life and Annuity Company. Product availability and features may vary by state. Each insurance company is solely responsible for the financial obligations accruing under the products it issues. This podcast was recorded on September 25th, 2024.
Thanks for joining us on today's show. We'd love to hear from you. Join the conversation below and leave a comment on your thoughts on what the industry can do better for participants as it pertains to lifetime income solutions. And if you'd like more interesting content, click one of these links over here.